Welcome to one of our first interviews we've done with various industry leaders and experts around the tourist attraction industry, where we're trying to gather feedback and their thoughts on how COVID-19 is affecting our industry and how we can best prepare for the weeks, months, and potentially the years ahead. So I'm joined by James Sinclair here, and rather than do an introduction myself, I'll pass over to James to give us a little introduction to your role, the sort of work you do in our industry and beyond that, really.
Yep. So before I got into the tourist industry, well, I'll tell you, so I own the Partyman Group. We have over 1 million customers come to our locations each and every single year. We've got 9 family entertainment centres, a farm visitor attraction called Marsh Farm, and then we've got a little theme park on the coast in Eastbourne called Fort Fun. We also, what we do quite differently to most tourist attractions is when we buy a tourist attraction, we look to add a multiple revenue stream of childcare bolted onto the side of it. So at Marsh Farm, we have a day nursery, and we've repeated that process 6 times now. We've got 450 staff, revenues in excess of £12 million per annum, and that's the basics of the business. Where I started off as a kids magician, and I would go and do shows at tourist attractions. I thought, yeah, I'd like to own my own, and that's how it happened.
Great. So I think it's fair to say you're well and truly in the industry and invested in the tourist attraction industry. Everyone knows that the coronavirus, COVID-19, has had a very direct impact on not just the tourist attraction industry, but hospitality and businesses, across the country. As a business owner yourself, can you just share with us what the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks have been like for you and your team, and just what the challenges are you've faced over this period?
Well, so if I go back to March, the beginning of March, I could see our turnover going down like unprecedented amounts, and so we decided on the Tuesday, before the government announced on the Friday their furlough scheme, we laid everyone off on the shortness of work and closed our business sort of 4 days ahead of the rest of the country. And we did that, and that was tough, saying 430 of our staff, I'm afraid we're temporarily laying you off. We managed to keep our day nurseries running, and we're supporting key workers, and that's been something that we're incredibly proud of to do as a business. In terms of March, we would usually do about £1.1 million worth of revenue. We had all the costs in March, still all the rents and the payroll costs, because sort of pay payroll in arrears, and we only did 360,000 of revenue because we closed by the 17th, but from the 10th, we really started to see our turnover take a nosedive. It's been a real tough time, but I've forced my mindset into positivity to make sure that we come out of this being leaders and being a company that will survive, and then get ready to thrive.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And I think that's something I've picked up on from speaking to you previously, and some of the things you've shared online. There's a lot of attractions that understandably have gone into hibernation mode at the moment. They've obviously had to put teams on furlough. That's totally understandable, but there's a lot of negativity and a lot of pessimistic views about what the future may hold. I think it's fair to say like you said, you've brought some positivity to your messaging. Where does that positivity come from? Is it you're a wishful thinker, or do you genuinely feel there's some positives to come out of this for us?
Well, look. From my point of view, I left home when I was very young, 16 years old, and I had to do something, and I thought that was tough back then, and I don't see this as tough as leaving home at 16. My mum died when I was 17, and I just feel like everything's a walk in the park now because of those things that happened to me in my early years. Look, I think there's going to be a ton of businesses go bust. I think there is going to be economic hardship. I think lots of people are going to have to take on debt to keep their businesses afloat. So yes, I think there's tough times to come, and I am under no illusion of those tough times. However, we could go through this saying, yeah, we're going to make something of this, or it's going to destroy us. I don't want it to destroy us. I am super excited that for a number of reasons. I'm excited that people have still got money. This is not the 2008, 2009 credit crunch. People have been furloughed. They've still got money. Right now, people can't spend money. They're going to be not risking going abroad, I don't think, for the next 24 months. So I think there's going to be a lot more local tourism. I think that's going to be great for the tourism industry. And I believe, and I've wrote 3 letters to MPs, one to Boris Johnson, one to Rishi Sunak, laying out my 7-step plan for helping SMEs, businesses turning up to £45 million, on how we come through this. And I think they're going to support. I think they're going to allow our sector to furlough our staff and still work a little bit. I think there's going to have to be some movement on that. Otherwise, the tourism industry will just not come back. I think now is the campaign to reduce VAT in tourism and leisure, like our friends in France, France, Spain, and Ireland have. And I think we would, have a campaign now to say, look, let's have a tourism and that could be forever. So that could be great for our industry. They're just some of the things, and I've got to be positive. Hey, look, I've started 2 businesses in this pandemic. One is the Entrepreneurs University, my online training program where I coach people how to grow their businesses, how to do marketing, etc., etc. And I've started a farm shop, a drive-through farm shop in our old barn that was next to our visitor attraction. And in the first 10 days of trading, we've done £15,000 worth of sales in a pandemic. I'm going to build that up more. We're going to do that as a permanent feature of the business. That right now people can't shop it. We're just doing it like if you think about a McDonald's drive-through. Think about a farm shop, combine the 2 together, and that's what we've got right now, a Marsh Farm drive-through supermarket. But we're going to turn it into a physical shop. We're hopefully going to get that launched next week. And I think you've got to think entrepreneurially. There's what I keep telling everyone, and I've been on a ton of podcasts, the same amount of money exists in the world. The money hasn't disappeared. And right now, that money is building up in people's bank accounts because they can't go and spend it. And so what you've got to do as a tourist attraction operator is think like a marketeer. And as soon as you physically can, convince people to come back and buy with you, be with you, do spend their money with you. And that's what you got to be. You got to be a marketeer of your business first, and then an operator of your business second. And I think you'll get through it like gangbusters. Yeah,
cracking. That's like I said, it's a positive view to have, but I think it's backed up by a lot of truth and a lot of sense. Like you said, it's not like the money's disappeared. It's not like the people have disappeared. And people will want to have fun again, and people will want to enjoy themselves. So maybe you're just going to have to work a bit harder to convince them. And like you said, that's through being proactive.
And I think what a lot of tourists attract, there's so many surveys going around, like in Balpa and Nafan and some of the sectors, in industry sector memberships that I'm sure loads of your listeners have got and that I've got. They keep talking about surveys that people will never go and visit a tourist. Flipping heck, have you met the people that fill in surveys? They do not represent 65 million people that live in this country. You are a survey of 1,000 people, it's just not the case. People will come back to us, and if you look at other economic downturns, guys, this is really important to remember. Everyone says it's never going to be the same. The 2008-9 crisis, they said, no, this is never going to be the same. Property prices won't go up for a generation and all of this stuff. And look, guess what happened? It's like an elastic band. It gets stretched. As soon as you let go, people return back to their habits. I can't wait to go out to a restaurant. I can't wait to go on holiday. I can't wait to go to the cinema, theatre and meet up and see my friends. I can't wait to do those things, and I will be doing those things. And the people that are my friends want to go out and meet up again. So I think there will be, if you've got a good product, good service, and tell people and market to people that you're still in business, I think you're going to get people to come back and do business with you.
Right. Yeah. When that time does come and people are allowed and it's safe to do business with attractions again, do you have any predictions about how we might have to do things differently? How we might have to, our customer behaviour might have changed. They may be a bit more wary, and we're going to have to put their mind at rest. Is there anything you can see changing from that point of view?
Yeah, I think there will be. What my fear is, and I'm seeing it with my team already, people go overkill on it and start worrying that we're going to turn it into like that scene in ET where everyone's wearing suits and stuff like that. Look, what we need to be is we need to campaign to government and say, look, if you want us to open on a reduced capacity basis, you have got to step in and help out. You have got to help our staff. You've got to, make sure business rates are not there, because tourist attractions need to operate on 100% capacity because they make their profit in the last 10, 20% of their turnover. So they can't be in a position where the government expects them to work at 50% capacity, take on all the costs and just lose money. So, but the government might turn around and say, well, look, we want to get the habits. We want to get, the wheels of the economy moving round and say, look, over the next 18 months, we're going to help you until we get back to 100% capacity again.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Final question from me. A tricky one to just give me one on. But if you had one piece of advice for the tourist attraction owners and managers who are sat at home now, wondering if their business is ever going to reopen again, if they could do one thing now, what would that be? What bit of action would you encourage someone to be doing today?
Well, communicating with your customers that you're still in business and that you want them to come back, that's and communicating with your team as well, because they'll be worried about what's the owners of this business thinking. Let them know that you're just in hibernation and you're getting ready to wake up like some big grizzly bear coming out of his cave, ready to roar and get the business going again. And crucially, look, the money goes and the success goes to people that have the 3 E's: energy, effort, and enthusiasm. And if you keep your energy, effort, and enthusiasm going for your business, you will survive. People always have a business if they're still hungry for what they've got. As soon as the hunger goes, the business goes.
Brilliant. I think that's something really practical people can do. Get on their social media, start talking to their annual members and their regular customers, and let them know they're there, and keep talking to them, because, like you said, there will be a time they can open the doors again, and you don't want them to have forgotten you, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it.
Great. Well, thanks ever so much for that, James. It's been really good, and it's nice to hear there's some positivity, even though it's you're realistic and you realise the challenges that businesses have got, but you've been able to be really positive with it as well.
Well, from my point of view, I can either be a mood hoover about it, or I can be like, yeah, come on, let's go. And I'm going to be, come on, let's go. That's my natural way of doing things. I'll solve the problems, as will most people. Let me tell you that.
Great. Well, thanks ever so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.